Further debate, the member for Guelph.
Good evening, Speaker. I rise to speak to Bill 43. Ontario is facing a climate and housing affordability crisis as we deal with an unprecedented pandemic. But you would never know it reading the fall economic statement. It mentions climate change 4 times, highways 58 times, and affordable housing once. I've heard the Premier say over and over again, yes to building highways. But let's be clear, the fall economic statement says no to affordable childcare, no to affordable housing, no to increased funding for education, no to paying nurses and PSWs like the heroes they are, no to increasing supports for people with disabilities, no to solving the eye care crisis, no to more funding support for small businesses, no to community-based land use planning under the Far North Act, no to cleaner air and better regional transit, no to protecting the farmland that feeds us, no to protecting the wetlands that clean our drinking water and protect us to flooding, and no to climate solutions. Speaker, if the Premier truly cared about reducing gridlock, he would not bury his head in the concrete of highway projects that primarily benefit wealthy land speculators and PC donors. We have 75 years of history that shows that building more highways leads to more sprawl, more gridlock, and more climate pollution. We simply can't afford to continue to make the same mistakes over and over again, Speaker. It doesn't have to be this way. Budgets are about priorities, and the Ontario Greens would say yes to building a greener and more caring Ontario. Yes to building better, more livable and affordable communities where people can live close to where they shop, play, and work. Yes to better health care, better education, and better access to mental health services. Yes to protecting farmland that feeds us, the wetlands that protect us, the green belt, and the places that we love in this province. Yes to climate solutions that attract global investment in the fastest emerging markets where we can create new businesses, better jobs, and new careers for people, ensuring our prosperity for future generations and leaving them a livable planet. But it will be hard to say yes to all these good things, Speaker, if the Premier continues to waste $10 billion on a highway that will save commuters 30 seconds, and that the people in the region are clearly saying they do not want. Speaker, we can do better. We must do better.
Thank you very much. Questions to the member for Guelph. The member for Aurora, Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Thank my colleague for the question, for the presentation. Speaker, one of the parts of this bill here is a quote from Virginia Haxon, who's the mayor of East Gwillimbury, Speaker, and I want to read. The Bradford bypass is greatly needed to service the growing population of our community, provide a more efficient east-west connection, attract more businesses, and reduce congestion on our local roads. Ultimately, this new highway will contribute to a safer community and a stronger local economy, and for that, we are grateful to our provincial and municipal partners. Speaker, many of us, and you've heard me earlier here say that there's an absolute need, as our population grows across the province, there's an absolute need for us to address that, to make sure that families see each other faster and sooner. Workers are able to get to work and spend less time on the road. Our businesses spend less time having those trucks sitting idling. It isn't good for the environment. We've all talked about that. Wondering, with highway projects like the 413 and the Bradford bypass, the member and I have had conversations about this. I'm wondering why the member isn't supporting this bill.
Member for Guelph.
We're not supporting this bill because these highway schemes are a climate, economic, and financial disaster. Both the Bradford bypass and the Highway 413 will significantly increase climate pollution at a time when we need to reduce climate pollution, according to independent studies. Years of history have shown us that the more highways you build, the more gridlock it creates, the more congestion it creates, and the more sprawl it creates. A 2014 master transportation study showed that there were alternatives to the Bradford bypass that had less ecological damages, particularly to Lake Simcoe, which so many people in this province love and want to protect. 2018 transportation study showed that building Highway 413 made absolutely no sense financially, environmentally, economically, because why would you spend $10 billion to save commuters 30 seconds? Speaker, we have more fiscally responsible, environmentally responsible, and economically beneficial alternatives to these highway projects.
Next question, the member for Windsor-Tecumseh.
Thank you again, Speaker. Thank you very much. I do have a question for the member from Guelph. I heard him say, I don't know, 10 or 20 things that the government has said no to that he would say yes to. My softball question to the member from Guelph, Speaker, how would you pay for all of those yes things?
Guelph.
Okay, the member's question, and I do like softballs every now and then. I mean, the bottom line is if you're going to spend 10, possibly more billion on Highway 413, 1.5 possibly more billion on the Bradford bypass, there's a lot of things that you can buy that will benefit the people of Ontario. Better health care, better education, affordable housing, better regional transit, and climate solutions that will set our economy up to be successful moving forward into the future. Speaker, we have better solutions than the gridlock and sprawl supercharging highways that this government wants to make. And the fiscally responsible approach is to prioritize that money in the things that the people of Ontario want and need.
Questions? Member for Brantford-Brant.
Member, I always appreciate his perspective on so many of these things, and I'd like to ask him, because it kind of came up, if we want to invest in the future green economy, do you agree that we need to invest in opening up the Ring of Fire so that we can harness not just the economic potential, but the fact that the minerals that are there, the rare earth metals that are there, will be able to drive our economy forward? Thank you, Speaker.
Member for Guelph.
Thank you. I appreciate the member opposite's question. Yes, we absolutely need a mining to manufacturing strategy in Ontario for electric vehicle manufacturing and battery storage, but we have to do it in the right way. And I'm deeply concerned about Schedule 10 in the Fall Economic Statement because it completely undermines community land use planning processes in the far north. If the Ring of Fire is going to be successful, Speaker, we have to have community-based land use planning. We have to have agreements that benefit Indigenous communities. We need to make sure we have grid connections to electrify it using renewable energy. We have to do this right, Speaker, if it's truly going to be green.
Thank you very much.